Hello everyone, it's Riley. So today, like 5 minutes ago, I just finished this book. It's Alex and Eliza by Melissa de la Cruz. And so I'm going to be talking about that today. I'll give you a brief synopsis if you haven't read it, but then there's going to be spoilers, so okay, here we go.
Down for the count and I'm drowning in 'em. I have never been the type to try and grab the spotlight. We were ready.
This blanket smells really good. It smells like Christmas. Oh, and it's almost Christmas, so I have this. And I changed my lights, my pumpkin lights are gone. And now I have little star ones, and I have like a miniature Christmas tree in the corner that has like little Stranger Things lights. Okay, I guess they're not like Stranger Things lights, but they're like the lights that they use in Stranger Things. And yeah. And look, some of these even blink. Bill's trying to communicate. Yeah, so I'm kind of also watching Stranger Things right now, and it's really good. Okay, anyway, back to this. So, if you did not know, like the title, cover, whatever. So it's about Alexander Hamilton and Eliza Schuyler. So there's a play Hamilton, and it almost takes place before Hamilton. So like, this is when they met and leading up to like when they got married and stuff. So it's like, I guess, kind of like the first few songs of Hamilton up to Satisfied, and then before the play. This is basically all of those. So yes, 1777, yeah, it took place in 1777 in Albany, New York, and then Alexander Hamilton, a bastard orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman, dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean. Okay, so yeah, he was born in the Caribbean, and so the beginning of it kind of tells like his life story. Oh my gosh, there could be so many Hamilton references. It's just like, so he's poor. He doesn't really have. He came to the mainland, and he really didn't know anyone. So he first moved in with the Livingstons, who they're really annoying, and I don't like them at all. But then Eliza, she's from the Schuylers. They have 7 children. So I wrote this down because, okay, their whole family like plotline, where they came from, is really confusing. Okay, so Philip Schuyler came from 2 wealthy families, the Schuylers, and the Van Cortlands, 2 of the oldest and most prestigious families in New York. And then his wife, Catherine, she came from the Van Rensselaers, I don't know how to pronounce their name, and it was the single most prominent family in the northern half of the state. She buried 6 of her children. Okay. So anyway, the Schuylers are rich, but something happened, like the British forces, they kind of put a dent in their wealth. There is a war going on right now. So then the British are like invading left and right, and then so they burned down one of the Schuylers' estate, the Saratoga estate, and Philip Schuyler, a man is loaded. The oil doesn't know. Philip Schuyler, he rebuilt the land on like the pastures, and so it's a lot of land. It's like 1,000 acres, I feel like they said. I don't really remember. It's a lot of land though. But then since he like rebuilt that and tried to like regrow everything, rebuilt the house and everything like that, so they're losing money and they don't want anyone to know. So they have 3 daughters: Angelica, Peggy, Eliza. And so then Catherine Schuyler, she wants to marry her 3 oldest daughters, which I originally thought they were the only 3 daughters just from listening to Hamilton, but that's not the case. So they just happen to be the 3 oldest who are ready to marry. So Catherine, she wants to marry her daughters off like really quickly so they can hopefully get like a foothold in society and gain wealth and help the Schuylers take back what they have lost. So Catherine Schuyler decides to throw a ball, and it all unfolds. I think that's it. I think those are all the non-spoiler things I can give you. You should read this because, okay, it's historical fiction, and I'm not one to read historical fiction, but my good friend Hope, she introduced me to Hamilton, and then she was like, you should also read this book. It's good. She's like highlighting things left and right because she was reading it last year and I was like, I am gonna read this now. So I did, and it's just like, it's so adorable and I love them. So yeah, it is historical fiction. And that's not really like up my alley, but I was surprised when I actually really enjoyed this. So I don't know. Expand your horizons and try this because it's really good and the cover's also really pretty. Look at it. Okay, let's get into the non-spoiler section. So if you have not read this book, then buy it now because it's good and you'll learn something. So yeah. Au revoir. Hi people, if you're still here, you either don't care if you get spoiled or you've actually read this book. So, back to Catherine Schuyler. I do kind of feel bad for her, but she is like really harsh on her kids. I mean, okay, so she did have like 13 pregnancies, but she only ended up with 7 children because she had to bury the other 6. But still, let's talk about her 7 children. I had to write their names down because there was no way I was going to remember any of them except for like Angelica, Peggy, Eliza. Anyway, so we obviously have Angelica, Eliza, and Peggy. And then John Bradstreet, Philip Jeremiah, also known as Philip Jr. because his dad's name is Philip, and Eliza, spoiler alert, Eliza names her son Philip, which, I mean, if you read the play, then you know what happens. Anyway, then after that she had Rensselaer, which I guess she named him after like her side of the family. And then she had baby Cornelia, and then at the end of the book, we found that she's pregnant with like 11 child. Like, what are you doing with your life, woman? You can barely feed these 7. What are you gonna? I don't know. So Angelica's smart, Peggy is pretty, and Eliza's like a combination of both of them. And I like Angelica the best though. I'm the oldest and the wittiest and the gossip in New York City is insidious. And Alexander is penniless. Okay, well actually in the play it shows her liking Hamilton, but in this it actually didn't, which I kind of liked a little bit better to show that she was like her own person and she wasn't just like Hamilton. But yeah, because I feel like this is closer to fact because like actually they just added that to play for more like drama. But it's not like I don't hate Peggy and Eliza either. Like I do like Eliza a lot too. Doesn't care a lot much about fashion, which like I don't either. I'm literally wearing a blanket right now. And she's more interested in like the war and the real world, which her mother isn't like a huge fan of that because she's like, you're a lady, you need to sew and random lady crafts and all that stuff. So yeah, and I feel like they almost wanted to like shield their children from like, especially girls, from like the real world that was going on, and they just wanted to keep them in like their little quiet estates with a book or whatever. I don't know. I mean, book part's fine, but you just I like how Eliza was wanting to know more than what's just like put in front of her. She was more. Oh my gosh, that reminds me of the Beauty and Beast song. Pull provincial time, but I mean Eliza's actually like my name. Okay, speaking of the war, so General Schuyler, the most loaded. Okay, I need help. So he wants to go back to war because he's like, okay, our family's in debt. I can totally help us if I go back to war, and then I'll get paid and stuff. So he's like writing letters and left and right. And then we switch over to Alex's point of view. I did like how it switched back from like Schuyler's point of view to Alex, and even though it wasn't third person the whole time, I feel like you just got a little more of everyone that way, and it wasn't hard to follow actually, but I did like being in the Schuyler's point of view a little bit better because it was interesting to me how they still had like servants and like their whole like the gowns, like oh my gosh, those would be so pretty. Alex's mom never married his dad because she was married to another man, but then Magic happened and Alex was born and here we are. But then Alex's dad left when he was 9, and then like 2 years later Alex's mom died when he was 11, which is like, I feel really bad for this kid, but like here he is. He's shaping our country. I actually didn't know that Alex had a brother named James, and they were sent to like 2 foster homes. but then the family left, and it was just kind of a disaster. And I mean, like, this kid, I thought only his, like, parents died, and then he was just, like, working, clerking for his late mother. Yeah, but I didn't know he went through foster homes, and I didn't know he had a brother at all. So, I mean, that was kind of interesting to me to learn, like, a bit more about people's backgrounds and just what is in the musical. Okay, so anyway, back to present. Well, I mean, what was their present? That does not make sense. Anyway, back to 1777. Oh, I said that really fast. Okay, so then Alex arrives and he has like this huge wig on and he's like, I don't know what to do, moves this like wig on right. And then Eliza like goes down the stairs. He's like, oh, I want to know what Skylar's doing this. And he's like kind of embarrassed and like his head starts to itch and he's like, and then like Roger the valet, he's actually really nice. He was one of my favorite characters, even though he was like kind of a minor character. But he was really nice to Hamilton, and I really loved that. And Roger's like, here, I'll scratch your head for you. Like, that was just like so bizarre to me. But I mean, it was nice. But then, I mean, like, the ball was lively fair. And I loved how Alex, he was like naming different people like liverwurst and like he couldn't remember their names. And then the hayloft incident. So then Alex was like, okay, I'm gonna sleep in the barn because like I had nowhere else to go. So he like goes to the barn, and then Roger comes out. He's like, here's a handkerchief, which was actually Eliza's handkerchief. It was his handkerchief that he gave to Eliza, but then Eliza gave back to him because I don't know. Then he like kept it. I don't know. And then there's also a note, and then it's like, I'll meet you in the hayloft. But then like he was like waiting all night, and then nothing happened. And then there's like a blank page, and it's like 2 years later. So here we are 2 years later. Still, we just happen to be in a carriage with Eliza and Mrs. Jansen. James. I'm so bad with names. I can't pronounce half of these names. But whale perfume, like, ew. Ew, no, just no. Just like the whole idea of even wearing whale oil, like, what would that even smell like? It sounds like from the book it smells like really, really disgusting. So I don't really want to know what is, just, no. And then, tragedy strikes. The carriage gets stuck, so it's like, So, the carriage gets stuck, and then Mrs. Jones is like, my ankle, it's killing me. And then Colonel Hamilton just happens to save the day. And then Eliza is like, when she gets out of the carriage, because she's wearing like these like long skirts and stuff. So she's like, excuse me, gentlemen. She like rips off half of her skirt, and it's just like, and then, but then after that, when Alex took her back, we never really did hear from Mrs. Jansen again. Like, she just kind of disappeared from the story after that. That was kind of weird to me, and I don't really know what happened to her. But okay, bye. So then Eliza arrives at her Aunt Gertrude's house, and her uncle, whose name I don't remember. Aunt Gertrude and Eliza, so Aunt Gertrude and Eliza, they are treating soldiers so they don't get the pox, and a lot of them are nervous. They're like, oh, do you want water? You look flushed. And then they're like, and then Eliza would be like, no, you can get me water after I give you this shot. And I was like, girl power, let's go. And then Eliza has to give it to Hamilton. No, but some of my favorite parts in this, when Eliza would be like, she would be just walking down the street or something, and then she's like, I looked at the door, and then I wished Colonel Hamilton would come out, and to her surprise, he walked out, and I was like, coincidence? I think not. They frequently meet and stuff, but then Peggy and Angelica come to town to visit, which I was honestly surprised. I was like, oh, we're probably just not going to see them. They're going to disappear like Mrs. Jansen did. So then Aunt Gertrude throws a party, and then Stefan Van Rensselaer, okay, well, so the Van Rensselaer, so they're related somehow? Like, that's weird. I just don't know. That's, I mean, like, I don't think it's, I think they're too distantly related for it to be incest, but I don't know. So then anyway, Stefan Van Rensselaer, I don't know how you pronounce it. Stefan comes, and then John Church comes, and they're just eating dinner. And then Angelica has this like roast session for Hamilton, and he's just kind of like, Okay, that was I felt bad for him, but like just go Angelica. That was probably not the right thing to do. I mean, that was entertaining for me. So then that night, the three Skylar sisters, they gather in Eliza's room and they're like talking, and then Angelica pulls out this letter, and it's from Catherine Skylar to Angelica. And then she's like, okay, so she was like going on. She's like, you need to get married, and it was just like, Eliza should probably go to the Livingstones. And I was like, hey, we have new characters already. So then they read the letter, and then they're kind of not happy. No, they're not so happy about this. So then a couple days pass, and then Angelica and John, they elope. So we eventually meet Henry Livingston. And he's just like a jerk. I hate him. He's like, I'm going to throw a party because I'm engaged. Yeah! So he throws a party. He moves sick troops to like a house, and then like could have died. He's like, oh, don't worry, none of them did die, did they? And then everyone's like, and then everyone was kind of like drunk at the party. And then that night at the party, well, he actually never showed up at the party. I don't think we ever actually found out where he was, but he did stumble into Eliza's house. And try to do some scandalous things with her. But Hamilton saves the day again. Yes. Then he's like, I challenge you to a duel. And then John Church walks in. He's like, no, that wouldn't be just. So then, eventually, Eliza tells like her aunt this, and then Henry's father comes in. He's like, my son did nothing wrong. He's a perfect boy, and she's marrying him. So end of story. And then Aunt Gertrude, do you know what this is? This is some of the live pox. You should get out of my house. So he was like sprinting out of there after that. But then Eliza's like, what was that? Is that really the... And then she's like, no, it's smelling salts. And I was like, you go, Aunt Gertrude. Thank you. But then this whole time, Alex is riding up to pastures to try to warn the Skylars that like Eliza's gonna marry some like a little weirdo, and he eventually comes on the wedding day, which was like, oh my gosh, that's too close for comfort, but you're here. So then she's like walking into church, she's like, I don't want to do this, I don't want, and then she hears something. He's like, will you marry me? Like Ham to the rescue again. But then she like faints because she's like, you're here. Oh, and I almost forgot, when he was riding up the pastures, like, the spies, I was like, oh, well, someone's gonna die. And I thought at least, like, his shoulder that the bullet's gonna, I thought it would be, like, infected or so, I don't know. I thought something was gonna happen. But he was okay, luckily, and they, like, hanged John Andre, whatever his name was. But, I mean, like, the Livingstons after Alex proposed, and then this guy was like, nope, we're calling off this engagement. Like, everyone probably would have been really upset, especially Henry. Oh, and Kitty, I forgot about Kitty. She's also a little full of herself. Like that one party that they had before, like, Eliza got like scandalously attacked. She's like, so, we're gonna be sisters, and she met Colonel Hamilton, and she like told him about Eliza. Well, I mean, guess who was married now? But then at the party, when Peggy was wearing those like really long and like orange gown, I was like, and then it says, Stefan kept sending Peggy these gorgeous fabric. And I was like, oh, that's adorable. Like Stefan, okay, sure, he does talk a lot, but he does care for her, and that's so cute. Okay, anyway, when Eliza recovers, I'm jumping all over the place, but it's fine. When Eliza recovers, and then Hamilton's like sitting right there. He's like, he finally proposes, and she finally says yes, and she's like really ecstatic about it. And then they get married, and then like it's just like it's so cute, and they're like adorable. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna start it out. And but then at the wedding, how the cook baked in like a piece of nutmeg, and then it's like, it is said that whoever gets the nutmeg will be the next to marry. And then when Peggy got it, I was like, that was honestly one of my favorite parts of the book. I loved that part. I was like, it's true. Coincidence? I think not. At least it ended on a happy note, unlike Cassandra Clare's books. Still not over the ending for some of those. Okay, anyway. But I mean, I'm glad these ended on a good note. But then, if you've heard or seen Hamilton, which I really want to see it, then you kind of know what happens next. Apparently, there's a book after this. I know it's not by the same author, but it's Eliza Hamilton, and it's just kind of like everything after their honeymoon. Because this ended on their honeymoon, but I guess there's another book which Hope is reading, and so yeah, I might have to read and buy that one, and I'm hoping I get it for Christmas because this book was really good and it was just so adorable. And just okay. So that's Alex and Eliza by Melissa De La Cruz. I hope you like this book talk, even though it's kind of all over the place. So yeah, I hope to see you next time with some other videos. So bye!